Lots of exciting news coming out of Fab 2.0, but for many it was the formal definition of the commoner format. Now, to be very clear here, it's not yet supported by LSS from an armory or an official play standpoint. That said, the formalization by LSS removes the back and forth that the community was having on the subject in terms of how many rares and etc., and it lets us all move forward into organizing standardized community-run events. And I think this was the right approach. As I said before, the commoner format has some challenges as a competitive format, but there's no argument that it's the most welcoming and easily approached format for new players. So in tonight's video, we're talking LSS's commoner format, why it's a great thing, and who looks strong from the get-go. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous video cast talking about all things Flesh and Blood. I'm Andrew. Thank you guys for tuning in and joining me as always. So tonight we're talking Commoner Blitz, and actually it's actually not Commoner Blitz. That's what we'd kind of all been calling it, but it's actually now just Commoner, right? Because it's been officially defined by LSS, which is great. So before we get in tonight, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors at FabDB, not just because they're our sponsors, but because in 72 hours, they turn around their website. Commoner or Pauper is now a officially supported format on their site. They went through and made those changes. You know, there's some bugs going back and forth, but that's how this goes, getting stuff done. So great job by our friends over at FabDB getting us all ready to start doing this new format. They've also promised, as you can see over there by the post, they've also promised that Pit Fight is on the way as well. And I'm sure when the aforementioned PvE is on the way, I'm sure they'll be able to support that as well. So FabDB doing great things for all of us. When you are over there using it, because I know y'all do, consider upgrading your account to unlock additional features. And again, thank you to our friends over at FabDB, and nice work, folks, with the very quick turnaround. So thank you. So yeah, commoner format. So I'll go ahead and throw up the official, page from LSS, and we can kind of look at it. I mean, we don't need to read it in definition because you guys can read. But commoner is a fun, low barrier entryway to play Flesh and Blood. It's a great constructed format for social gaming. That is a very interesting way that they chose to wrote that. A typical game of commoner lasts around 20 minutes. Yeah, maybe. I mean, on average, probably got like a bunch of 7-minute games and probably a bunch of 40-minute games, but that's kind of how Fab rolls, right? So I don't know where that one came from, but the statement of it's a great constructed format for social gaming, right? So as I mentioned in the beginning, one of the things that I missed originally, because and again, you need to remember, when news is coming out, things come as you hard and fast. We were talking on my Discord, like, yeah, you know what, what's the right rate to move our armory tournaments into running commoner events to attract new players? Something I didn't realize at the time is it's currently, right, as per the guidelines, for the rules, whatever, our commoner's not a supported armory tournament, right? So we will not be doing that as armory. That doesn't mean you can't still run events at your store. That's certainly not the case, right? And highly encouraged to do that to help you bring in new players. But as of right now, it's not officially supported as an armory tournament. Now, some of you may be saying, well, Andrew, you could just do it. And that's fair. The thing is, right, if I as a TO or if I as a store, if you're going to be, right, if you're going to have somebody mad at you for not running commoner, if you have somebody mad at you for running, or if you're going to have someone mad at you for not running an unsupported format and someone mad at you for running an unsupported format, it's always best to skew on the I'm following the rules side. Right, so just keep that in mind, right? This is, as they say, it's great for a social format. It's a great way to teach new players, bring new players in. Run those unofficial tournaments, throw out tons of prize packs. It's the way to go. But as of right now, it is not for your armories or stuff like that. I do expect it, though. I do expect it to be side events at larger tournaments coming forward. And I do expect a ton of stores to start having tournaments like this. So please don't take what I just said as a negative. I still think it's a positive. I just want to point out so no one gets themselves in trouble, because that's where my head went originally. I just want to make sure that No one's thinking that right now they can run their armories like that under the official format. If none of your players care, you do you. Doesn't bother me at all. I just want to make sure you don't get yourself in trouble not having realized it, right? So it's kind of like the don't sue me disclaimer, but you guys get it. All right, so part of the other discussion about this was, would it be Blitz? I mean, almost everybody, I think, was running Commoner as Blitz, so, and that's where my head would be. I mean, it just makes sense that if you're going to make it Commoner, it may as well be smaller and easier to even get those commons, right? So run it by Blitz, make it quicker, it's easier to learn, or in Blitz format, I suppose. But the deck construction part, right, that's the important part to me in terms of the formal definition of it, because that's what a lot of, I mean, and again, it's a social format. You can do it however you want, right? You can run, if you want to run Shiana and all these places, or all these cards, people, you do it, right? But, I know, like, Kitchen Table TCG and other places on the web, they were running slightly different formats with what they allowed and what they didn't, and formally defining it by Elysis, I think, is awesome. So a Commoner deck, Commoner Plus deck, contains up to 52 cards, being 40 cards exactly that you will shuffle, up to 11 in inventory, so it looks exactly like Blitz, one young hero. But these last ones and the ones I've highlighted there, a deck may only contain generic cards and cards of the same class. A card is considered common if it has ever been printed with the common rarity, right? So I'm really glad they defined that. That was actually, and the one they used, which is Lunging Press, is actually an example that I used in my last commoner video. I've always assumed that to be a commoner because it actually had, it wasn't just like T or something, it actually had the C rarity on it in the Aria deck, right? So I always considered it to be a commoner, legal, and them defining that is perfect, right? That's the type of thing that you need when doing this. And a card is considered a rare card if it has ever been printed with a rare rarity and not a common card, right? So basically what they're saying is like, yeah, a Majestic could eventually be a rare. That's considered to be a rare, right? So them putting that in is probably boilerplate CYA type stuff for the above, but it also does kind of hint that it's, and I'm not saying, spoiler alert, we have M's being reprinted as R's in the future. That's not what I'm saying. But it is hinting that it's possible for M Blitz heroes to be reprinted as such in the future, right? So, I mean, that's one of the things. If we go over to, I'll go ahead and throw it up right now, right? This is I hope I didn't miss any when I made this. Like, I kind of made this quick right before I did it. Hopefully I didn't miss any. But these are the heroes that are currently available to be played in Commoner. The glow around them marks their rarity, right? The gray is common or token. The blue is rare, trying to match the symbols there. Like, look how creative I am with my colors, right? So this is what's available right now. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. But that's not to say that, because all, you look at the crew heroes, the crew CRU heroes were all rare. The heroes from Everfest were all M, right? So that's not to say that Valda couldn't eventually be, she'd be scary, actually. I think Valda would be pretty good. And then they don't have living legend points or anything like that, by the way, so your Anathos and all that's not going to retire over the hill when Bravo walks over the great mountains of Wrathe. That's a shout back to my last video. Points if you caught it. Put in the comments if you caught it. Shout out to you. There's no prize for that other than just a pat on the back. So a couple of heroes I wanted to talk about tonight in terms of who I think are going to be really, really good. So remember, in Commoner, it is a less efficient format. That's what's happening here, right? It's a less efficient format overall because you don't have access to all your cards. So Kassai being able to run the two rares, right, in the inventory. Now, you know what? I'm actually thinking I didn't actually read that out. But up to 11 inventory cards you will choose from. Your inventory contain up to 2 rare cards must be common. Yeah, kind of an important thing that you skipped over there, Andrew. Kind of an important thing. So as we go through this, that's really what I'm looking at, because Kassai bringing her weapons, right? She has Driving Blade, which is a common. Do note that, the new Blade Runner is a rare. But she's looking real strong to me. Again, I want to be very clear. She doesn't have all of her spiky stuff, right? All of her spec is in her blood in her hands is an M. But she looks really good to me as someone who can be pretty consistently dealing a fair amount of damage, right? You also look at Dorinthea has always been good in something like this, but Dorinthea is very hamstrung on just being the attack react thing. So she's good. Viserai, I think, is pretty good, but he's not running Remember, Viserai has to play a Runeblade card. It doesn't have to be, the non-attack doesn't have to be a Runeblade, but the card he plays has to be a Runeblade. And he loses a lot of his really borderline busted stuff right now. That said, there's plenty of non-attacks into attacks to trigger Rosetta because Rosetta is legal. So I think that even if all of Viserai is doing is pooping out 1 to 2 rune chants per turn into a Rosetta, I think that's still pretty good, right? So I think Viserai still does okay, and I think he can do it relatively consistently, but I think he's going to be relying on swinging Rosetta in Blitz a lot more, or in Commoner, right, in the Blitz style format. He'll be relying on that a lot more than he probably did before, even though he was doing it quite a bit before. And, you know, we should never forget someone like a Katsu who, I mean, honestly, we should forget Lakatsu because honestly, Ira just does it better, right? Ira's going to be very good. Ira's going to be very, very good in this type of format. Your Dash, right? Dash, I wish she could be good, but she you know, T-Bone, right? T-Bone's a rare. So she, you know, the Dash boosting takes some pretty big hits. You can't Teklo Pounder, right? You can't Induction Chamber. So, you know, there's some challenges there for Dash. So just going down the list, you know, Rhinar probably struggles. Dorinthea is good. Bravo's great because you can just Anathos Hammer all day long. Katsu, probably just play Ira for now. Viserai can probably do well. Azalea is going to struggle. Dash is going to struggle. Kano's basically DOA, I think. Kayo, I think probably you should play Rhinar if you're going to go with that because you lose a lot of Kayo tricks. Benji could probably do okay. One of the things he doesn't really care about combos, so Benji could probably do okay, just kind of sliding stuff under. Remember, there's a lot less equipment in this format, so basically anything he sticks, for the most part, is going to be able to stick, but he also loses a lot of his card draw tricks. Kassai, I already talked about, is pretty consistent. Data Doll, you have no chance. Cav Dane's actually pretty interesting in this, so he loses his... you know, right now a lot of people when they're playing Cav Dane, they're playing Fire Breathing or they're playing Exude and just a butt ton of blues. But he has some options, and you can always just run blue and steal health. And actually, a character ability like that in a less efficient format is not horrible. So I'm not gonna throw Cav Dane out to the wolves on that one. He could do it. Ira, I think, is fantastically positioned. Levia, I think, has zero chance, right? There's just not enough. If you just look at the current card pool and the spectrum of what's available, it's not there. Young Boltyn, I think also struggles if you just look at, you know, what's out there. I mean, take flights are common. They are. But he loses a lot of his other cool stuff, like Spoils of War, because you want to play Axes with him, right? Spoils of Wars, you have to play. I mean, I guess you could play Sabers with him, but you don't get Lumina, so I don't know why you would, right? It'd be probably Boltyn Axes, I would think. So there's some options there. Prism, I think, does okay, right? Because there are a number of common heralds, and like when you're coming in for 7 or 6 or whatever it may be, that doesn't suck. Chane probably can't go as deep as he wants to. I mean, the shackle thing's interesting, getting the go again, basically into being able to shackle into. And actually, you know what? Chane. I'm actually convincing myself I had a different plan coming in here, but you know, thinking about it, Chane could probably do okay shackling in. The problem is in a less efficient format, especially in Blitz. Like he can deck himself pretty quick, and in a less efficient format, is he going to be able to be efficient enough to make it work? That said, if you use your soul shackles sparingly to be able to just basically go into, you know, your Rosetta, maybe that works. Lexi, I think's okay. She's going to have to obviously rely on the ice type strategy there, but I think she's got some tools, so I think Lexi's pretty good. I think Oldhim will be tough without his toys, right? Without his shield, without seeds, or crown of seeds, I should say, without that. And then Briar, I actually think we shouldn't write off. I mean, it's going to be a little harder for her to, you know, do what she needs to do, but she, you know, you've got Bramble, you've got some of the other tricks there, so Briar's someone to really look into on that. I mean, the one that I'm looking to, the one that speaks to me the most is Kassai, just because I've got most reps with it. Look at my warriors, but remember, you lose a lot of the equipment. Kassai losing courage kind of takes away one of her turns, or takes away one of her free turns. Yeah, but if you're just starting out and looking at someone to really look into, I'd really look into Bravo, because that hammer strategy is pretty good. There's a lot of, you're just looking at blues with big attack. There's plenty of common guardian actions or attacks that you can use to get that done. So looking pretty good there. But either way, right, no matter which way you choose to go, no matter which way you choose to guide your new players, it's going to be a great experience at a very casual level and a great way to learn. And you don't have to worry about getting OTK'd off the board, which is the big problem in Blitz right now. So bringing this in, 100% the right thing to do. As I've been going through this, I'm sure a lot of you have been stopping and commenting and stuff and letting me know whether you agree, whether you disagree with my character disposition. Completely awesome. I cannot wait to see the conversation and get that started. Others can pull off your energy, share deck lists, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to go ahead and throw out the invite on there, right? If you want to come on and tell us about all your commoner decks and, come on, tell me why I'm wrong, whatever it may be, let's do this. Let's make sure that we have a commoner resource available in YouTube form for all the new players who may be looking in to get in. So that's the point of this. Let's grow the community. Let's get this done. Reach out, let me know, and let's make this happen, folks. So nothing else, folks. I really want to thank you for tuning in tonight for the extended commoner discussion. I'm very excited to have this formalized. Hopefully you are as well. If nothing else, folks, go Commando.